Yeah, that's right. We're here actually pretty close to the Western Kentucky campus, just down the street from it. And actually this house, this is incredible. So you can see that they've lost most of the roof. And the roof, well, it's right here on the ground. The roof was literally just lifted off and thrown in front of this home. You can see these bricks from the facade of the home as well have just kind of crumbled and fallen over. In this particular neighborhood, we've actually seen a lot of the homes that were not completely destroyed. They were just had significant damage, of course, but we did hear the good news here is that this is a rental and that nobody was living here. Of course, Western Kentucky students were supposed to graduate this past weekend, just 2 days ago. And of course, that did not happen because of this storm. But look back here. Look how incredible this is. There are dozens of people with chainsaws. I've never seen so many people just drive up, take these chainsaws out of their vehicles and just get to work. And I asked them, do you know the person that lives here? No, they're just here to help because that is what, you know, the spirit of Kentucky. This is just what people do. And so there are tons of people here helping out, cutting down trees, getting this all kind of organized. And there are many homes back here you can see that have suffered damage. So they're just helping out all of their neighbors here in this Bowling Green neighborhood. Just really kind of incredible to see all of these people helping each other. Now, as I mentioned, in this particular area, there are a lot of definitely some roofs that were damaged and that kind of thing. Lots and lots of trees that are down, but no significant structural damage in this particular neighborhood. A lot of roads are closed here in Bowling Green. It's hard to get to those neighborhoods that have been do have such significant damage. But we're going to take you around for the rest of the afternoon. If we are going to go to that video, this is some pretty incredible viewer video of the tornado. Of course, the biggest one that we've been talking about that, of course, traveled for what we're hearing could be as many as 220 miles. This was captured by a viewer. And the only way you can even see this tornado, of course, is because of all of those lightning strikes. Now, this was about an hour and a half northwest of where I am right now, in a part of Kentucky. I believe it's called Dresden. So not here in Bowling Green, but just shows that massive tornado that caused all of this damage. We'll have more for you coming up a little bit later, though. For now, reporting live in Bowling Green, meteorologist Ashley Smith. Steve, back to you. And I'm here in Bowling Green right now. Of course, as we were mentioning, this is another one of the areas, maybe EF3 to EF4 damage. And we were, as Steve mentioned as well there, Friday night, it was actually early Saturday morning. And, you know, that was only, 60 hours ago that this actually happened. And already people are not necessarily rebuilding, but definitely cleaning up and starting that rebuilding process, because that's how it all begins. But just to show you how strong these storms were, look at this power pole. And I can actually hear my voice kind of echoing off of it. It was just completely pushed off of its base. I mean, this base is probably 3 feet wide, and that pole just knocked down from the force of those winds. And you can see, even as we look down this street, that there are businesses that, of course, are closed and damaged. Plenty of trees that have been snapped off of their bases, and just like twigs, I mean, just completely snapped off by those winds that were so powerful here, closing down some of these businesses. Of course, plenty of people are now left homeless because of this storm as well. We were actually in the neighborhood kind of behind here a little bit earlier. You can see kind of through these trees, and we'll take you there a little bit later in the show. But there are lots of homes that are damaged back there as well. And Tricia was mentioning, you know, you see those toys on the ground. There are lots of Christmas decorations that have been blown over as well. And that's the kind of thing that we're seeing in this area. Now, I want to take you to the sky and take a look at this drone video that we shot over the weekend from here in Bowling Green. And it just shows the devastation kind of from that wider view, because as we're here on the ground, Tricia and I could be here really all week, you know, and our crews in general could be here all week taking you to these to all of these neighborhoods, showing you all of this damage, and we still wouldn't be done. So it's definitely helpful to be able to see that from the sky and show you that massive devastation that goes for blocks and blocks, for miles and miles. And it really is kind of interesting. I know Tricia was mentioning it earlier, where one street, it'll be completely fine, maybe just a little bit of damage, a shingle or two blown off, and then the next street over, everything is completely leveled. And that's kind of the thing that we've seen around here as well. But I tell you what, the spirit of the people here is just incredible. People in general seem to be in a more positive mood, if you will, as they are kind of expecting to all of these folks kind of coming together to help one another. For now, I'm going to send it over town to Tricia, who is going to talk more about what we're seeing here in Bowling Green.
Here's another look at some of the storm damage in Bowling Green, Kentucky. The roof just gone. Many parts of this community have been devastated by the cluster of tornadoes. Still to come, we'll have the details on how you can help. If you're sitting at home wondering, what can I do? We'll tell you exactly how you can help right after this.
to point out right now, there's a semi going through this residential neighborhood, and the reason for that is because the bypass, which is just on the other side of these apartment buildings right beside me, is closed down. So people are using this residential area because it does get you around that bypass, which is closed because there was a lot of damage. If you were with us yesterday morning, Ken Brown was actually along that road talking about the damage. But again, this is a residential neighborhood that would normally be pretty quiet this time of evening, but a lot of folks are using this road to get by. But also, we know there are a lot of people that come around and they kind of want to take photos of this kind of thing, and so that's also creating an increase in traffic. Look at this vehicle that was parked in this carport at this house right here that is now, of course, you can't get to that vehicle. It is completely covered in what was once that carport. There are a lot of bricks around it that have fallen as well, and of course that house as well has no roof. Also on the bypass, I don't know if you can see that, Stanley, but the road sign is also damaged. That's just how strong some of these winds were. That's when we knew that we were almost to Bowling Green, because we actually did see some of those street signs that were just down on the side of the road. And those street signs, if you've ever been near them, are huge. They're bigger than my body, like 5 of my bodies. So it's just incredible the amount of damage that has been around here in Bowling Green. But the good news is, in this particular neighborhood, there was no loss of life. Now, that's not the same for the neighborhood where Tricia is, which isn't very far from here. So I'm going to send it back to her for now. On the campus of Western Kentucky University, because earlier this week, or I guess over the weekend, it's only Monday, but after this happened, there was news that came out initially saying that a Western Kentucky student had died, and that turned out to not be true. And I tell you what, I think that was the case because, well, first of all, the tornado kind of skipped over Western Kentucky University. They had very little damage, but also they were supposed to graduate last week, and they were supposed to graduate and walk and wear the cap and gown, and none of that happened because of this storm, but they will now get to do it in the spring. But look at this dorm building. So on one side it says love in those lights from the dorm rooms that of course no students are in right now because it is winter break, and then on the other side BG. So just showing that this entire Western Kentucky University community is behind the town that of course they are in as well, and they were some of the people that we spoke to today that were helping out with some of the cleanup. It's hard to walk down a street in Bowling Green and not hear the roar of chainsaws.
Out in the community and just help, whether that's clearing debris or just talking with people, just lending our ear to them, just so they know that someone is there to help them. So right now we're just clearing a lot of trees.
Jesse Spencer was supposed to be dressed in a cap and gown this weekend, celebrating his degree from WKU. Instead, he is busy clearing trees from homes just outside of the Western Kentucky University campus.
It's awesome to just get to come back out here again. I've gotten to meet and see so many awesome people, and just the way the community has come together. I mean, I've seen hundreds of people just back in this area alone, just trying to get brush out of the way, talking, eating together, just forming those bonds. And that's one of the reasons I love Bowling Green so much.
Many people are still without power, or worse, a home to live in. That's where Ann Bolin comes in to provide a slice of home to people that have lost so much.
So it's nice to have something hot. It's good to have anything, but something hot just makes you feel like your home isn't ruined.
Yeah,
they don't have a stove. They don't have a way to warm things up. So
Bolin and Spencer both say it's about helping your fellow neighbor in their time of need.
they're so grateful. They're heartbroken. But when somebody says, hey, we want to pray with you or give you a hug, they're ready. They're ready to receive it. So that's really great.
Talking to the homeowners, letting them know that we love them, we care about them, and we're here for them because we're experiencing this too, whether our homes got destroyed or not. So we've had some awesome interactions with homeowners, and they're very, very thankful for anything that we can do, and we're really thankful they've given us the opportunity to do this.
And there is good news on the power front. You know, we've been mentioning all of these power outages. They're now down to about 1,000 customers without power here in this region. At one point, it was as many as 28,000. So they have really restored the power to some of those hardest hit areas. Tricia, you were mentioning earlier, I heard you before the show saying that you can tell that there's not power, but some people are still staying, or at least staying near their homes. We saw somebody in their car. It's just very devastating when you see what these people have to deal with, especially so close to the holidays. We've been talking about all of those relief efforts, and I think it's also important to note, don't just come here and start helping because they are overwhelmed. So go through those right channels if you do want to help out, and there are plenty of ways to do that, and we have it all on our website. For now, reporting live in Bowling Green, Ashley Smith, Fox 19 Now.